It was the hub. We had a lot of small mom and pop stores, sweet shops, barber shops. Right next door was the funeral hall.
This place that you're in right now was an operating fire station. The station was built in 1913. This is old LA City Station 30. It opened in 1913 and it served this community at that time. This is the second firehouse on this lot. The first house was an old wooden frame two-story building that was built in 1890. It was called Hose Company 5.
At that time, they still had horses. The horses were quartered in the same building. That building way in the back was our kitchen when I came on.
Our first African-American firefighter was Sam Haskins in 1892. He came on the job back then. He was born a slave in Virginia, moved to LA in the 1880s, joined the fire department. In 1897, George Bright came on the job. And for years, we thought he was our first black because he's the only guy we had pictures of. He came on in 1897. He promoted to lieutenant in 1902.
And they didn't want him to be a boss over white firemen. But the Supreme Court had held that the separation of the races did not violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, so long as conditions were equal. They figured that 2 stations was enough to handle all the blacks who could qualify. But right after the war, our men just swarmed on this department.
From 1902, when George Bright promoted, to 1954, black firefighters were segregated in the Los Angeles City Fire Department for 52 years.
So from 36 until 1955, if you were African American, you worked at this firehouse or that firehouse. That was it. That was the limit.
We had to break up segregation, not because we hated to work together. We couldn't promote. All the spots were full. We had to break up segregation.
Because we did not hire our first female firefighter, African-American female firefighter, until 1983. We hired Delisa Davies.
It didn't compute that there hadn't been any other black females that have tried it. And because I saw some strong black women and they didn't make it, and I wasn't really sure why I did. When I first got here, got on the job and talked to Arnett for a long time, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Some of the things that they had to go through. And I was like, I don't know how they did it. I really don't. But they were strong, and that's what we need, strong history.
If they hadn't fought fire while they were segregated, I probably never would have been hired. There's 85 before me. And now we've got 20 black chiefs, 2 black women captains, 2 chiefs of the whole department, and a black president. Huh?
It's interesting because most people think that blacks just started this business in LA, you know, like in the 70s because of affirmative action. And quite frankly, we've been around in the LA City Fire Department well over 100 years. As a result of the fire department being forced to integrate, it gave birth to the Stentorians.
These Stentorians are a group of African-American firefighters with the city and county fire departments that were organized here at the museum when it was a fire station in the 1950s to combat the segregation of the fire department.
The organization started as a social organization. It was just black firefighters and their families socializing in the 2 firehouses on Central Avenue for 52 years. It's no big thing. However, it was when integration was ordered and when black firefighters went to stations where there were white firefighters that they were treated terrible.
and to talk to some of the surviving Stentorians, because when I first came on, they used to come by my station and check on me. Are they treating you good and all this other stuff? Oh, I can handle mine. Oh, I got this. I got this. Don't worry about me.
And that's why we always give respect to the grace of the spirit of those old Stentorians, past and present, who really paid a tremendous price, of which the debt can never be paid.
Around 1995 or so, a group of firefighters from the city and county fire departments came together and started to look at how we can preserve the history of our pioneering African American firefighters.
This is the same building. When I first went to Gil Lindsay, he says, I called him Gravel Gertie behind his back. Archfield, what are you trying to do, build a monument to segregation? I said, no, Councilman. I want to build a monument to what we achieved in spite of segregation. Then he got behind us, but he died before it could be completed. And little bit of Rita Walters became councilwoman for the Great Night.
And they secured funding for the museum. The museum is a national and local historical landmark. So the museum is here to collect, conserve, and share the pioneering heritage of African American firefighters in the local area of Los Angeles in general, and also across the United States.
And our vision is to have education programs here at the museum that would be interactive.
We want to open our museum up so they can have a place here where they can learn about how to fill out college applications, how to improve on their demeanor, their disposition, to better themselves and market themselves better, to be more productive students, to go to college. Well, the museum is used also as a hall for receptions, private parties. We've had weddings here. We've had fundraiser dinners, dances, speaker forums, book signings. We've had, again, workshops for children, just a wide range of things, organizational retreats, fashion shows, jazz festivals. We've done an array of things here at the museum because our grounds is not just inside, it's also outside. We have a beautiful courtyard area, and we can do also things in our side yard. So our museum is available for rental. Our rates are negotiable, but it's not always enough to keep the lights on and the doors open. So we are looking for funding from philanthropists, from those that want to help us keep our doors open. Anywhere we can get funding, we try to do that.